Okay, let's start with a discussion. What do you understand by the concept of PR and customer care? What do you understand by the concept or by the word PR or by the word customer care? Is there anyone who can try to respond?
All right. Let me try.
Okay.
I think when it comes to public relations, it is the way an organization or company interfaces with the public, how it disseminates information to the public, probably about its plans, its products, its services that the organization offers.
Okay. You are talking about how an organization interacts with the publics. Who are these publics? When we are talking about publics, who are these publics?
This can be individuals from, let's say, it can be organizations which are probably not that same organization. It can be individuals outside the organization.
Okay. Any other contribution?
Well, I think, sir, I would add on that public relations is a process of maintaining a mutual relationship between the organization and the publics, of which part of the publics, like what Arthur is saying, I would include also the media, the citizens, the government, and so forth. So the process of them having a mutual understanding about each other, because there is a way that the public perceives the organization, apart from how us as an organization, how we want the public to perceive us. There's a way that they interpret us, that they perceive us. So now that mutual understanding is then public relations. That's what I think.
Okay. It appears you have got an idea of what we are going to talk about. Basically, when we are talking about public relations, we are saying that in organization, whatever business which you are doing, you are a profit-making organization, you are a government institution, you are a non-profit-making organization. You don't live in isolation. You don't live in isolation. Therefore, there is need now to understand the environment in which you operate, or you need to identify the stakeholders. You need to identify the publics which exists within your operating environment. Once you identify the publics, you are in a position to create a relationship. Organizations exist or flourish because of relationships. There is supposed to be an interaction. There is supposed to be a relationship between an organization and the environment in which you exist. Your failure to understand the importance of the public may result in a catastrophe of the organization, of the brand, of the product. If you fail to manage your stakeholders, if you fail to create the harmonious relationships with the public, you may end up out of business, or it may mean that you are unemployed. That is the shortest answer which I can give you in regard to PR. If you fail to understand the publics, you may end up unemployed. So when we are talking about PR and customer care, we are talking about the brand. You also need to take note of the fact that the environment in which an organization exists, do we have diversity? It is composed of people, or it is composed of individuals with different characteristics. Diversity is a broad term which encompasses a lot of issues. Issues of gender, issues of sexuality, issues of age, issues of tribes. So when you are a PR officer, or you are a customer care officer, or a marketing officer, you need to understand that the environment in which you are operating is diverse. And whatever activity which you do needs to be inclusive. You need to consider every aspect of the environment, or you need to create a relationship which is the mutual relationship with the environment. So we are going to discuss a number of brands which failed to understand the importance of the environment, and by that they become extinct. PR is a management function that involves monitoring and evaluating public attitudes and maintaining mutual relations and understanding between an organization and its publics. The definition which I'm providing here is speaking to a number of issues which are important, which I think you may need to take note of. You monitor and you evaluate public attitudes. You maintain mutual relationships and understanding between the organization and the public. And once you do that, when we are saying it's a mutual relationship between the organization and its public, we are talking about the brand. You may have the equipment, you may have the building, you may want to have whatever you have. We are worried about the value, the goodwill of the brand. So we need to protect it by creating a mutual relationship. And how do we do this? We need to improve the channels of communication and to establish new ways of setting up two-way flow of information and understanding. Communication is integral in any marketing or in any customer care and PR activities. And it is supposed to be a two-way type of communication. You need now to notice that communication nowadays is fluid. The environment in which you are operating now as managers is very fluid. Communication can move very fast from one organization to the other. Customers or stakeholders now have a lot of information. They have got a lot of access to information. And they share ideas, they share information at an accelerated rate. Therefore, organizations now need to open up all these channels of communication, be it on print, be it on social media, be it on websites. Are these channels of communication communicating the right information? Is the information up to date? Is the information relevant? And is the information true? All these different aspects are important when we try to understand the concept of PR and customer care. Organizations that fail to recognize the importance of PR and customer care may or will fail in future. Then we have this concept of customer care. We talked about PR. We have another aspect of customer care. It's a process which organizations use to communicate and make relations with customers. Who are my customers? Customers are not, it's only not that those people who come to buy products from you. Customers nowadays need to be recognized. In fact, they need to be recognized by name. You need to know you need to profile your customers. You need to know what your customers need. Who are they? Where do they live? What kind of information do they want to share with the organization? Then you create those channels of communication between the organization and the customers. And all these aspects are done through working with the media. PR and customer care works with the media to build a strong brand image. So every organization needs to have an effective PR and customer care. You may have assets. You may have the product. But if you don't have the PR and customer care aspects, you may fail in a long run. PR teams work to connect internal information and resources into positive external information and opinions. You need to influence the opinions of the stakeholders. You need to make sure that the stakeholders who are outside, they view your brand with a positive perspective. Marketers and PR officers deal with perceptions. They deal with positioning, brand positioning. I was listening to this one of the main scholars in marketing, Kotler. He talked about brand positioning, not product positioning. There is nothing like product positioning. There is brand positioning, because consumers or our customers, they buy brands. They relate to brands. They don't relate to a product. So you need to create an image for the brand. We have got big brands which you know. Coca-Cola. It's a brand on its own. We have got a number of brands which you already know. And that brand need to be associated with certain perceptions. And when we are talking about perceptions of our customers, perceptions of our stakeholders, we are talking about the brain. What are they thinking about our brand? Once they recall about our brand, they will now go and purchase our products. Customer care is an internal department within a company that directly handles with the client management. Customer care hears directly from the company's most important strategic audience, the customers / the clients. PR teams would connect with customer care or customer support to discuss the overall consensus of opinion on the company or a company's campaign or product. There is this link, or there is a combination which exists between PR and customer care. And in some small organizations, they may exist as one. In some big institutions, PR can exist as its own department, and marketing and customer care existing as its own department based on the setup of a particular company. So you may need to take note of that. PR is the public-facing function of an enterprise, of an individual. That is, they communicate to the general public. Customer care deals specifically with the needs of the customer, usually at a point of purchase, often times prior and post-purchase. Currently, we have got this aspect of sustainability in our marketing and PR activities. Marketers and PR officers are talking about issues to do with the environment, issues to do with sustainability. Customer care and PR should not only stop when customers purchase our products. We need to follow up on our product up to the disposal. How are our customers disposing our products? Is the packaging which we are using not harmful to the environment? If it is harmful to the environment, what is the PR department doing so that they protect the environment? Is the packaging which we are using conforming to the expectations in terms of environmentally friendly? There is a talk about climate change. If your products have an effect to the environment, are you not going to have problems with the government, with the stakeholders, with the local community? That is the reason why, if you look at stories making rounds in Zimbabwe in particular, we have got companies who are having problems with the public. Some local communities are complaining that a company is coming into our area to do mining, is coming into our area, taking our land. Why? Because these organizations are ignoring the function of PR. So when you ignore the functions of PR within an organizational setup, the publics will now come and most probably start to demonstrate, because there is no communication, there is no harmony between the organization and the environment. So my biggest question to you is, do you really know your environment? What are you doing to the stakeholders of that environment? Do the stakeholders know that you exist as an organization? What corporate social responsibility are you doing as an organization? Business is not about making profits only. It is about maximizing shareholder value, making profit, and also taking care of the community. We are now going to the end of the year. What social responsibility activity, what PR activities are you doing as an organization in order to enhance your brand, in order to enhance your image? These are important aspects which you need to take note of. Let's now get into some discussion. I understand that you work and you also carry out these PR and customer care activities. Is there anyone who is willing to share with the class on PR and customer care activities which you do? Most probably we can start with the PR as an organization, and to what extent is your PR activities enhancing your brand position or your image of an organization? Hello? Are you there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's discuss.
At our organization for public relations, normally, because we deal with industrialized boilers, so mostly we deal with companies that produce steam, like Delta Beverages, the hospitals, the prisons to some extent, the government, and the way we do our PR is through like functions done through Zimtrade, the mining Entra. We advertise through the ZITF, just to mention a few for now.
Quite important points raised there on advertisements through ZITF. Okay, ZITF is a PR function. When you organize to go and participate in ZITF, it's a PR function. But you now realize that when PR goes to ZITF, they will now incorporate marketing. So this is how you are supposed to view PR in customer care. They usually work hand in hand. Any other contribution? We want real practical examples of PR and customer care activities. Hello? Any addition? Any contribution? Hello?
Tatinda, are you speaking?
Okay. So maybe I may want to highlight some very important aspects in terms of customer care and PR from...
No, my mic was on, but let me... Okay.
Okay.
I'll give an example with our organization. Say,
I think your mic is off again.
Okay.
Yes, clear. Clear, can you proceed?
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you clear. Can you proceed?
I was saying I work for holiday in and it falls under okay. Oh,
I think there are some issues with your network. It's breaking.
okay. So with our organization, our PR of late, we have
We cannot hear you. I think she has got problems with the network. Anyone who can, anyone who can give us another example of PRR?
I think we might have a challenge right now. Menace has been kicked out, and Nyamandi can't speak at the moment.
Okay, it's okay. So let me proceed. We have got very practical examples from a Zimbabwean point of view. We have got companies like Econet. They do a lot of PR activities, and in all these PR activities which they do, they usually incorporate the marketing and PR. They usually work together. I think you know the Victoria Falls Marathon, which they organize almost every year. It's one of the practical example of a PR activity. They are creating that environment so that anyone can come and participate. And at the same time, they are enhancing their brand image. We also have what companies like Delta Beverages. They also carry out some corporate activities in terms of soccer, sponsoring soccer, and a lot of this social gathering. I also know of NNB, the bank. They are also involved in activities of golf, sponsoring activity of golf. So these are some of the PR and customer care activity. And we are saying that these organizations carry out these activities in order to enhance their brands. They are doing all these activities in order to create an image which is favorable with the stakeholders. You cannot exist in isolation. So these are the examples of the publics, our members, the media, local and national elected officials and decision makers, the local community. So you cannot survive as an organization without recognizing these publics. And these publics, they differ from one company to the other. You need to fully identify the publics and understand the requirements or the needs of these different publics. The Zimbabwean citizens, they are a very important stakeholder, because your activities which you are doing will at the end of the day affect the environment in which they live. There is now a global talk in terms of climate change. The industry is producing toxic material into the environment, and the environment is now endangered. Someone who is out there in Chinoi, who is out there in Kariba, who is down there in Gokwe, is also being affected by your activities which you are doing as an organization. Therefore, there is need to reach out to these stakeholders, understand what they want, engage with them, create a room to communicate with these different stakeholders. Let's now look at the history of public relations. Ivy Lee is one of the two men thought to be the forefather of contemporary public relations. So a lot of literature points to the fact that Lee founded public relations. He was a journalist, reporting for several New York-based newspapers, including the New York Times, the New York America, and the New York World. It is said that this guy called Lee advised the American industrialists, John Rockefeller Jr., and his company Standard Oil in 1903, that many believed marked the birth of public relations as a professional practice. The company was experiencing poor public image following their reaction to a series of strikes in the coal mine workers. There was a problem with the image when they were mining oil. So Lee came in and advised the company by encouraging the Rockefeller to visit these mines and interact with them, with the miners. And this boosted the reputation among mining workers and improved the public perception of Standard Oil. So what are we saying here? Public relations is all about the reputation of the organization. It is about building a positive perception. So are you putting any effort to improve the perceptions? And to what extent are you working to improve the perceptions? What activities are you doing as an organization in order to improve the perceptions? Lee also is behind what is thought to be the first ever press statement after a major rail crash in Atlantic City in 1906. I think you understand this aspect of press releases, which the government usually use to disseminate information. Whenever there is some negative perception or negative information regarding the government, regarding corporates, they usually come out to give press statements so that the right information is communicated to the public. So organizations are required by the law to continuously communicate with the public through press statement, through different tools of PR which are out there. There are many who surmise that it was Edward Bernays and not Ivy Lee who history should view as the forefather of modern day public relations. Bernays, who was born in Australia but moved to the USA with his family as a child, was the nephew of the pioneering psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, a guy who is known of his behavioral psychology. Political propaganda utilized by government to influence public opinion during the Second World War could be used by corporations to influence public behavior in a more subtle form. After realizing that political propaganda which was being used out there to influence public opinion, he thought that it was also ideal for corporates to use the same tactics in order to influence, to shape up the image of a brand, attributed to refining the art of press release and developing much earlier theories of public relations. Then let's now look into what is customer care. By 300 BC, humans were setting out on missions on waterbound trade, and by 1000 BC, merchants were becoming part of the society. The beginning of industrial age brought the vast new challenge of a customer. Due to industrialization, the aspect of a customer came into existence. Customer care did not start or in the early 1990s, but it started long back. Maybe when the Portuguese were trading with Africa. It is a phenomenon that started carving its own niche much earlier until 1760, when it started getting a worldwide attention. Between years 1760 and 18, words such as scale or customer care started getting common among its traders. Scale, shorthand for scale up, to grow up or to expand in a proportionally and usually profitable way. And as a noun, means proportional growth, especially of production or profit or a large market position. So this is how these two aspects interact or relate to each other. Improvement in the company's image, improvement in profitability, increase in market position. One of the greatest milestones that will forever remain in the history books was the 1750 BC complaint. It was the first ever complaint to be recorded in the British Museum. It was written by an ancient Babylonian customer named Nani and sent to NASA following delays in the delivery of poor quality coal. Are you listening to your customers? Are you listening to the customer care issues? Is the voice of the customer incorporated in your marketing activities? Is the voice of the customers incorporated in your strategy? Never go out there, come up with a strategy without involving the customer. With the coming in of technology, more information is now out there to the public. You need to carry out research about your stakeholders. You need to carry out research about your customers. Gone are the days in which you can produce your products and you hope that people will buy. You need to be customer centric. Understand what the customer wants, then you go and produce the right product. Are you hearing me properly? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Do you have any questions? Any additions? Or let's share what you are doing in your organizations in terms of customer care, in terms of PR. For those who are now back online with good internet, can you share with us your activities of customer care and PR which you are doing in your different organizations?
Okay. I'll talk of my organization. We are a branded hotel, and our hotels are worldwide. So last week, but we had a week where we were appreciating our guests. It was called the Guest Appreciation Week, whereby when guests were checking in, we would give them goodies like chocolates, juice, whatever they wanted. And at the end of the week, we then celebrated them with a cocktail. So it's something that will make your customers keep coming to you.
Thank you very much. So that was it a PR activity or it was a marketing activity?
It was customer service, customer care activity.
Okay. Can you share with us how do you profile your customers from a hospitality perspective? When customers come, they log in. I understand that whenever customers log in into the hotel, they leave their phone numbers, their residential address, all the details. How do you deal with those the profiles which you take?
Okay, with the profiles now, we've got, like, as you are saying, there are guests that come. We've got guests that we know they come for work-related business, like during the week. We separate them from the ones who come for leisure on weekends. That's Friday and Saturday. So we profile them differently. The ones for leisure, when we are having activities that is in line with leisure, we invite them. Then the ones for the corporates, when we are having a corporate events like high teas and all, we also invite them so that they are part of the events.
Thank you very much. Any other addition to any other example, practical example?
Well, I'm in the shipping and freight industry. So basically, at logistical shipping and freight, what we do customs clearance. Hence, we have got offices at all border posts, and we ship or move anything for clients from anywhere around the world. So as for our customer care activities, firstly, we categorized our customers. We've got a key management, a customer management system that we have, and we know our key account customers. We've got a plan that we have, that we take them for lunch meetings. We usually take these business lunch meetings as ways of deliberating and hearing from the customer's point of view, and just interaction with the client or the customer in an informal environment, getting to know one another. In this way, then the customer is able to tell us exactly what they want. In the end, we provide a customized product or service to the customer. We recognize also their birthdays. We diarize birthdays and special occasions. Now we are moving into the festive season already. We've started issuing out gift cards and gifts towards this festive season. We also have customer survey forms that we send out at intervals quarterly, so that we hear their feedback, because we don't want to give them what we have, but we want to give them a personalized, a customized product that they want. So customer survey forms helps us also to get feedback from them. We also do corporate social responsibilities. We sponsor football clubs. If I may mention, perhaps Caps United. Caps United is one, because my director is the owner of Caps United anyway. So it's also one of the soccer teams that we sponsor, amongst others, including the disadvantaged or those seeking for donations or helps for operations outside the country. We also do that for our customers. When interacting or letting the customers know, or the public know about ourselves, we use the press. We advertise in the press. We've got our brochures that we've done. We also utilize our websites and so forth.
Okay, quite a very big activity in terms of PR and customer care. Maybe this question is to all of you. To what extent do you utilize the web space in terms of websites, social media, to enhance your brand? To what extent are you using the web, meaning websites, social media, Because I understand, I'm coming from the point that people may post negative issues or their complaints on social media, and you understand the viral effect of social media. To what extent, or do you have any one of you who came across a negative information on social media or any other platform, and how did you deal with such issues? Any practical example, or just tell us if you have Twitter handles, how often are those forms of communication effective, or how do you use them as an organization?
Okay, my organization is a family-owned business, so it's not particularly very public, so to speak, but we have a Facebook page, and we try to update it. On one occasion, we had a negative complaint about a customer who wrote on the page. Apparently, he had contacted our engineers, and he didn't have a good response, so he posted it out. So our chairman reached to him. Well, initially they apologized on the page, and then they reached to him privately and settled it privately. That's one of the things I know. But also on the website, because like I said, we make industrialized boilers. It's not a big industry for everyone. So we actually get inquiries through that. So it is proving to be effective as well.
Okay. Any addition before I talk about something?
I just wanted to comment on Ms. Sekaram, on what Ms. Sekaramai has said, in that they managed to converse with the disgruntled, but however it was private. So I then become worried if it was done privately, because remember that the disgruntlement was done in the public. So already this public comment has instilled a negative perception in one's mind towards this organization. Whilst yes, it was fine to engage this person as an individual, I feel also perhaps the organization would have gone an extra mile at trying to address the issue even on the platform, and promising, giving the public hope that this won't happen again, and promising a positive something in the future, so that you won't chase away the potential clients that were supposed to be there.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. In fact, it is important when you are managing, especially responses on social media, responses on your website, to show evidence that you solved that problem. That is the reason why whenever organizations have got an issue in terms of maybe about their product, a customer raises a complaint. I will give you an international example of Nissan. They once recalled a certain batch of vehicles because there was a customer complaint from the publics which we are talking about. I also have got an example of Johnson & Johnson. They also have got a complaint in one of their products. Customers complain that this product do have a side effect. So to manage such an environment, I need to re-emphasize that always consider the customers. Always consider the stakeholders. They collected this the medicine, the product from the customers. They call it product recall. And when they destroyed the product, they made sure that the media is available. And the CEO will be seen destroying, most probably setting fire on the product. If it is Nissan, they will show these cars coming back. Recalling, most probably, they will show a sheep showing those cars which are being recalled. Updating the stakeholders. All these activities are being done in order to enhance the image, because we are saying that that complaint which is in the spec in the web is going to be seen by 3-point-something billion customers, because your website is public, your Facebook profile is public. So you really need to take note of that. That is the reason why you realize when organizations, companies want to rectify a certain issue or a certain activity, they usually invite media houses. The reason why they invite media houses, because they want to set the record straight, or else their image or their brand is going to fall. All organizations needs to be associated with good things. I think all of you still remember the incident of Oscar Pistorius of South Africa, when he was associated with issues of murder. All the companies which were sponsoring Oscar withdrew their funding. They disassociated with him. Even banners which were on the road, the following morning they were removed. So these are PR issues. So even if you are a PR officer and you don't even know where your banners are, and the celebrity which you are associating with has got issues which is affecting your brand, and you don't know where the banners are, you may end up out of business. Let's now discuss some important aspects which you may need to understand before we go to we are almost to the end of our discussion. The first segment of our discussion, in fact. Customer service is giving assistance to customers on how best to use the product, troubleshooting any issues, and ensuring they had a great buying experience. Marketers are worried about experience. The experience with the customer experience is supposed to be pleasurable. Full stop. We need to satisfy a certain need. We need to satisfy a certain want in our customers. And that experience is supposed to be pleasurable. When experience is pleasurable, it means the customer will remember our product. It means the customer will refer other customers to come. So how do we do that? We assist our products in how to use the product. So it can be online. It can be face-to-face. So don't focus on sales. Carry out surveys. Carry out research. Organizations need to rely on research. If you are realizing that you are not carrying out the research, you are doing whatever you are doing because you were employed, there is no research which is going on, extinction is coming on you, or coming your way. Customers are now dynamic. You may be doing whatever activity which you are doing in Zimbabwe, but remember you are now competing with the global competitors because of internet. So you need to take note of this. Then customer care means how well customers are taken care of while they interact with the brand. You see the difference? When customers are interacting with the brand, Are you following up on how they are using the brand? What are you doing as the customers interact with the brand? You are saying that you are in the business of selling boilers and whatever. Are you going back to the customer to share, so that you share with them their experience, to understand their problems, to understand the performance of your product? Maybe it's a technical product. How are they interacting with the brand? What is the image regarding the brand? PR and advertising. Advertising is what you pay for, and publicity is what you pray for. I hope this makes sense to you. I'm not sure about this class. The other class which I was teaching, it was a class of pastors. So when I talked of advertising is what you pay for and publicity is what you pray for, they understood it better. What do I mean? Is there anyone who can clarify?
How can you pray for publicity in an organization?
Okay. Anyone who understands this statement?
I think this statement is trying to say, when advertising is what you pay for, like you have to pay for it, you have to work for it. Advertising, you pay, and then you get the results. Whereas publicity is what you pay, what you pray for. You wish for it. You wish for it to happen. It could be automatically or through people's perceptions, but it's one of the wish lists that we wish we would have a positive publicity. Whilst advertising is like you're just actually, it's a cost to you. You're taking funds to earn something.
Exactly. When we are talking about advertising, advertising is a paid way, while publicity is not a paid way of increasing visibility of your brand. You are trying to create news, hoping. You see, this aspect of praying is about hope. You are creating an activity, hoping that people will view my image as a good, my brand as a good brand. So when you create, let's say you decided to do a donation. Okay, donation, you may say you are buying something. You decided to go and clean the street, while you are putting on your corporate colors, corporate uniforms, and you are showing off your brands while you are cleaning the streets. You are hoping that when people see us, and when you do that activity, you invite the media. You don't pay the media unless if you are doing some corrupt activities. You invite the media to come and cover your events. When all these big companies do their activities, they don't pay the media, they invite the media to come. And the media now will report about your organization for free without paying anything from them. Maybe you give them lunch and whatever, and they go. And this brings another important aspect. You need to create a good image with the media, because the media is the link between you and the public. The media is the link between you and the customer, because when the customers realize that your brand is not good, they will go to the media, and the media guys will write stories. Because remember that these media guys rely on news. This other guy, a friend of mine, told me that a media is a mirror. What is reflected on the mirror is what is shown. So if you want to appear very good to the media, Show a good picture. The good picture will reflect on the mirror. Advertising is paid, public relations is earned. Convince reporters or editors to write a positive story about you or your brand or issues. It appears in the editorial section of a magazine, newspaper, TV section, or a website, rather than a paid media section where advertising messages appear. If you want to advertise your products, you go to Herald, you go to wherever, you pay for that advertising space. But when we are talking about PR, you create news, you create activities about your organizations. You create end of year parties, you create some activities, you create news. Maybe you want to launch a new product. You invite the media to come and cover the activity. With advertising, you tell how great you are. With publicity, others sing your praises. Others referring to the stakeholders. Because they are reading a lot of things through the different media houses. So which one do you think is effective? Publicity and advertising. Which one do you think is effective?
Publicity.
Any other issues? Any other contribution? Which one do you think? Why do you say publicity is effective?
Well, I think publicity is more effective because it brings out the correct picture and it tells of the kind of understanding, the mutual understanding that exists between an organization and the publics. Whereas advertising is like I'm just ready to pay a cost so that something comes out, for instance, in the paper or in the media or in the radio. But then when I've paid that cost and advertised in the media, the response now that people have towards that advertisement, now that's publicity, the perception that they have after doing all that. I can give an example of I'm not sure if it's very relevant. For example, the passion Java.
Okay.
Tomboti abhadhara chibillboard chake chaanombobhadhara chakwe along airport road abvisa thousands of dollars chakanyorwa kunzi mapisarema handiti that he has done the cost, but advertising cost so that he be known. But then in return now, publicity magic, it goes deeper than that advertising. Because munakutarisa every background, the reception, the positives and all the negatives that you have, right at the comparison of all that, also would the one result. I think passion Java munakaita so at the end of the day. Follower, they like what he does based on the publicity that he have, noisy the background, the view other than the advertising cost yake. So I think every organization should rather strive for publicity. For instance, in Nukubasa kwangu no badara for an advert, no badara a 4-page yobuda mupepa. But then media or anyone or the end of the publics vakasonyora something negative, no matter kutinda badara 1,000 yangu for my advertising, it would damage me. So publicity would damage more than advertising.
Okay.
And advertising, even the public can choose to ignore the advert. Even it's not all the adverts that no verenga that not okay I some my products I have TM Pick and Pay I some tanga kuverenga one-on-one advert yoyo. It's not that, but pakangobuda chete mupepa kuti okay I iskutedzera ma COVID protocols and you've got a chance that publicity will damage okay on its own despite which advertise and paper. That's what I think.
Okay. Consumers or customers know that advertisements usually they are persuasive. They want to persuade customers to buy. So they try to create an impression to persuade. Okay, let's start with the Holiday Inn. What's your pay line? It's Holiday Inn. What's your pay line? Holiday Inn.
Okay, it's Holiday Inn, a place to stay.
Segramai, what's the pay line for your company?
We don't have such.
Okay. Anyone with a pay line which you may want to share?
Moving anything anywhere around the world.
This one now is too much. Is that correct? Is it?
It's actually scary. Anything.
Around the world, you see?
Yeah, around the world. Anything legal.
Okay.
You see now, okay. Holiday Inn, a place to.
A place to stay.
Is that true?
Yes, it is in a way.
Okay, what's the pay line for? Let me give you this one. For there's this service station which says you go an extra mile. Is it Puma or is Sakunda? It's a fuel. They sell fuel. They say you go an extra mile.
We just buy fuel. We don't look at those things.
Then there is this one, Tanganda. Do you know the pay line for Tanganda?
No.
I forgot it. When I remember.
Is it? There is another pay line which says it gives you wings.
It's Red Bull.
It's Red Bull. You also need to go and look for Tanganda. The pay line for Tanganda, or you can search as we are doing the class.
Tanganda does it. It says it lifts you up.
Yes. Were you ever lifted up by tea?
No. Well, psychologically.
So no one will now listen to those things. But if it's an event, they are saying Tanganda is supporting a tournament. And when they are supporting their tournament, these are their brands. Econet is engaged in Victoria Falls Marathon. And during that activity, they are selling. That is the reason why most companies associate exhibitions. On the exhibition, they are selling. That's PR and marketing taking place at the same time. Because it's cheaper to do publicity. Advertisements, they are important. You need to do advertisements. But PR is also very important. Advertising paid, it's built exposure, but the audience are skeptical. Guaranteed placement, once you advertise, you know that you advertise, your message is going to be communicated. Complete creative control, ads mostly visual. It's more expensive to carry out advertisement. So when you are coming up with your budgets, you need to take note of these things. Advertisements is about buy this product. While PR, it's an end, you earn PR to build trust. Media gives third-party endorsements. No guarantee must persuade the media. The media may not come to you if the issues which you are, or if you have got bad relations. PR uses language to communicate with the people. It's also less expensive. PR is emphasizing that this is important. Then PR and marketing. We just want you to have an appreciation of these different aspects. Marketing generally covers promotional, direct marketing, and advertising, which seeks to retain direct sales. PR is focused on reputation management through generating positive media coverage and stakeholder communication. We have already talked about this. Marketing aims to reach current and potential customers. Public relations is all about maintaining positive relations with anyone who has interest in the organization or the brand. Marketing teams are to reach consumers and make them think, believe, or do some kind of sales-focused action. PR is about selling the company or brand through positively managing the communication channels between the company and its stakeholders. Messages delivered through PR channels such as articles, conference speakers, reputable bloggers are subconsciously regarded by consumers as more legitimate than those presented through marketing tactics.